Super Rhapsody, Season 1, Chapter 7, Doomsday, God 4. Above. Created by ManYan, written by Locust, once with the final trial again. Aren't you going to explain? System, Zhou Sheng said urgently, when the host completes the task of collecting the first 9 genetic samples in the primary trial mission, then it proves that you are already qualified. Officially accepting the final trial of this location, that is, the final trials mission. The mission time has been refreshed, and the time limit is 10 minutes. Please, within 10 minutes, complete the task of collecting the 10th dinosaur genetic sample, and ensure that you live to the end of the mission. Quest reward, gain 1000 gene points. After completing the final trial mission, in addition to the gene point reward, the host will receive 3 randomly selected other bit skills, and you can leave this plane at any time. If there is no doubt, the final trial will open immediately in 10 seconds. Please prepare the host. At this moment, Joe Little King's head was a muddled mess, blinded by the system's last sentence. Ensure your safety to live until the end of the mission. How could he still have the ability to think to ask any questions? The system prompt continued to sound, as he didn't answer. Final trial, 10-second countdown starts.
10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1.
Good luck to the host. Bus.
AST.
Wrong palpitation filled his mind, and Zhou Sheng shivered violently, only then waking up from the confusion he had just experienced. What on earth could it be? That's the damn unpleasant feeling to have before you die. Confusion clumped in Zhou Sheng's heart. His heart palpitation, so fun. Yes, it was familiar, exactly as it had been before the fall from the elevation, before death came. This is a warning sign before the great tribulation. This so-called final trial, then, must be closely related to one's life. At the thought of this, his look became a little more serious. When the little mother dragon saw that he looked off, she thought that the little monster was upset because she had eaten too much of his little fern fruit, and had left him some, so it continued to rub against the little king's face, spoiling and coaxing him to be happy. Only, it didn't notice that apart from the little monster in front of him, even his own mother, and all the adult helper dragons in the herd, were starting to fidget and look terrified. This as, perhaps, the telepathic response of animals to the approaching disaster, just like rats will migrate before an earthquake, or seabirds will fly inland to avoid disaster before a tsunami. It is an innate instinct of early warning that is deeply engraved in the blood. When no one was looking, Locust quietly cut his initials, I'm an Autobot, to echo the scene. Time passes as he counted a mini-by-second aerial thing at the foot of the volcano. However, was surprisingly quiet. The roars of insects and beasts from the past had long since disappeared. Even the flowing air seemed to be almost still. This also made the group of halberd dragons increasingly uneasy, and a few of them had begun to break away from their formation and run away into the distance. And sure enough, 30 seconds after the final trial opened, but ramble from the top of the vault of heaven came a sudden, long thunderclap. All of the halberd dragons raised their heads and looked towards the top of the sky dome. Then they all began, their limbs trembling, looking frightened, and making panicked chirps under their breath. Zhou Sheng was also shaken back to his senses by the trembling body of the little female dragon in his arms, and then he also had his eyes to the sky. This look suddenly startled him. What was that? A magnificent and bizarrely inexplicable picture reflected into his eyes. It could be seen that the originally endless, turquoise and deep blue sky was now filled with countless tiny flickering stars. With the passage of time, they were also getting closer and closer. After a few more seconds passed, the star's bounce actually turned into a slender stream of light that cut through the atmosphere like a razor, and plunged into the curtain of the vault of heaven. The streams of light, all of them whistling over Zhou Sheng's head, ran into the sky north of the sea, with a long tail flame. Soon after, clusters and clusters of eye-catching bursts of light lit up the northern sky. If Zhou Sheng remembered correctly, that direction seemed to be what the system had meant. Timed before, the northeastern part of the Yucatan Peninsula. This fear seemed to have made him think of something. It was no wonder that when he was field hunting for monsters in the forest before, he always had a strange feeling of uneasiness, but didn't care at the time. But now that he thought about it, it seemed to be referring to what was happening now. He remembered that the system had said that this was the Yucatan Peninsula, while also mentioning that it was still what ghost crater ruins. That's right. It seemed to be called some kind of pixel-up crater ruins. Zhou Sheng thought of this, and his soul went out of his mind. Archimigo. The relics the data refers to, that is 66 million years from now, not now. So isn't this peninsula the place where the meteorite hit the Earth in later times? Oh my gosh. System, are you fucking trying to play that little master? Host, please hurry up and complete the final trial. Current time remaining, 9 minutes and 11 seconds. I'll finish you, big man. Zhou Sheng grasped and roared, while also picking up the little female halberd dragon, and sending a furious ran towards the southern and part of the Takumaco volcano. Number at that time, using the mountain to resist a wave of impact damage, it should still be able to work. As for the other halberd dragon, already saw the heavenly vision, ran away among them, also included the mother of the little hallucinogenic dragon. After all, this is also the self-preservation instinct of these low-IQ animals. No wonder they ignore their young in times of great distress. Their own little lives were the most important. This made the little pancake dragon's head, looking in the direction of its mother's escape, even said, "The company has been in the process of developing the new product for the past 2 years. Gradually, this great carton, the vault of heaven, was riddled with holes. Thousands of lines of fire, varying in size and color, these glittered with deadly light, trailing their demonically brittle, iron tail flames, and went forward and backward, blasting into the sea and the earth beyond the heavens. It wasn't until more than half a minute later that the first loud bang in the northern sky came. Belatedly, this intense shockwave, wrapped in a blazing monstrous wave, plunged into the northern part of the volcano with a sweeping might. Even more than half of the sky was red with the onslaught of the fire wave. Wherever the wave of fire passed, whether it was the forest or the pond, it was ignited in an instant, turning a large number of animals and plants into charcoal. In an instant, many animals that had managed to survive also ran lifelessly towards the south side of the volcano, crying out in pain and grief, trampling and tumbling wretchedly. With this movement, it was still only the effect brought about by the first impact. When it was longer, there would be a wave of even bigger and more terrifying shocks that would follow. Zhou Sheng simply didn't dare to think down, running lifelessly in a frenzy. What 10th dinosaur genetic sample? Fuck it. Do you want to wait 66 million years for humans to unearth the elegant fossils of my bull and wolf? I'd rather be a piece of shit. And I'm not dying here. System. Saint George, host, please speak. The little kid held the little halberd dragon, crossed over a giant rock, dodged a broken piece of wood that flew behind him, stamped on his short legs, and flew and landed across the stream in front of him. Exhaling a sigh of relief, he continued to ask the system, "Well, system, did the history books say that 66 million years ago, an asteroid did you give this place a head start? Why are there so many asteroids out of nowhere? It's just like tea running on a hangman. Are you still allowed to live? First, the truth of history does not depend on some unilateral estimation and judgment of future generations. The discovery of the tip of the iceberg. Can it be the truth? Secondly, what's hitting the surface of the Earth right now isn't an asteroid either. I understand the first point, which means that with the current technology of mankind, there is no way to restore the truth yet, but I'm a little confused about the second point you mentioned. What's clattering down from the sky is not an asteroid. Is it still a beautiful W? Oh man, the system didn't fart with him either, continuing to explain in a nice tone. Those are the dinosaurs. Boss, listeners, I'm Locust. If you like my work, please follow me. Your support is the driving force behind my writing. Thank you.